what it's like to be targeted on the ice.
Yeah.
Connor's been through some of that in his career. He had some comments last night.
Yeah.
Did you hear what he said? What do you make of it?
Listen, it's a hard game, and emotions run high sometimes, and it's good to see he's got that emotional fight in him, and it's good to see that he's combative and he wants to excel and wants to win, and that's what makes him a great player. Is he's got that competitive spirit, and it's just an emotional time for him. He probably felt like he had some liberties taken at him by the young man, and he spoke out against it. But that's part of being a professional athlete, though. And I always said this, now that I'm retired and not having to play, but all the guys I hated playing against were always the guys I wanted to have on my team, because those guys play hard and they play with a spirit and they want to beat you. And so I found that as I look back in my career, the guys that I most disliked were always the guys that I would say, gosh, I wish that guy was on my team. So that's part of the game.
What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge he faces now? I mean, is that it?
Well, he's going to see this every night. I said this many times. The one sort of mystery to me was always people said that I never got hit, but that's just not true. I know the coaches in the other room were not saying don't hit number 99. That didn't happen. And you play hard every night, and you're going to get tested every night. And I did, and Mario did, and Crosby did. Taves does, Stamkos, and Connor. He's going to get tested every night, but this is not new for him. He's been tested since he was a kid, and then playing junior hockey, and now in the NHL. And he's always responded and always done his part. So it's just, you're going to face it every night, and I faced it every night. Mario did, and that's just part of the game.
Now that you're with the Oilers, how hands-on are you with Connor? How often do you talk to him? How much advice do you give him?
Listen, same as Dustin. Connor is Connor before I came around. He's a great player, and he's going to be a superstar in this game, and he does everything positive in a good way. And I'm not going to interfere. They got a good general manager in Peter Chiarelli. They got a really good coaching staff. But if Connor asks me a question when I'm around or something I can give him advice on, absolutely. When I was sitting around Gordie Howe when I was 19, 20, 21, I couldn't ask him enough questions. And Gordie Howe used to tell me, I learned something new about the game every day. So you can never learn enough about the game, both on the ice and off the ice, from guys who've been through it. But by no means would I ever interfere with Connor or the players or the team.
Can you share anything he asks you? Does he ask you, or is he?
Just the game itself. We talk about the game, and he's just a really good young man. And the game, it's an amazing game because, when Mario retired and great players retire, you wonder, you sit around and go, okay, now how are we going to do this? Like, who's going to come along? And then you get a guy like Crosby and Ovechkin and Stamkos, and you go, oh my God, these guys are really good. And then all of a sudden, Austin Matthews and Connor and Marner come along, and Liney and Winnipeg, and you're going, wow, okay, these kids are, we just seem to getting better and better all the time, and it's great for the game.
You mentioned a superstar, Wayne. Did you ever feel sometimes that you needed to show the opposition that they were crossing the line? You talked about, McDavid last night, who lashed out a little bit, but we saw. I don't know if you saw the highlights. Carey Price as well. Who's a guy who's always calm, cool, controlled. Yeah. Got a little ticked off and said, okay, that's enough. I'm tired of getting bumped.
It's part of the game. We expect athletes sometimes to be sort of robots, and it's an emotional sport, and I've always found that some of the greatest athletes are that way because they play with a great deal of passion and emotion. And so, you do have to battle back sometimes, and not everybody's going to like how you battle back, but you got to do it to stand your ground every now and then. And listen, Connor's fought all his own battles his whole life. He's going to be fine, and Price is going to be fine. He's, elite player, and everyone knows what competitor he is. So that's just part of being a professional athlete.